Hi, I'm Aaron Cilia. You're watching Spriggan Mist TV. This is episode 3 and it's Yule.
Zdravstvuyte, tovarich. Меня зовут Mikhail. For those of you listening in English, my name is Mikhail the Terrible. I am the long-standing comedian, long-suffering comedian and compere for Spriggan Mist, and you're watching Spriggan Mist TV. And as it's Spriggan Mist TV, I would finish with a gag, but me improvising is like... well, I don't know what it's like really.
So Yule this year was kicked off by the Dolmen Berkshire Yule feast. Here's some footage from that great night. Now here's Maxine singing Days of Winter, a song she wrote in Yule back in 2008.
Frost on the ground, no leaves on the trees. Winter's days are dark and short. The sun that shines gives no warmth. These are the days of winter. These are the days of dawn. We pray that summer will return in a wondrous way that forever turns. Sit by the fire and gaze at the flame. Warm my body and heal my pain. I look to the future and to Mother Earth. I wait for the spring and her rebirth. These are the days of winter. These are the days of dark. We pray that summer will return in a wondrous way that forever turns. How do I celebrate the wonder of you? How do I know that it's time for renew? The days will be longer, life will go on. Spring will return and the lambs be born. These are the days of winter. These are the days of dawn. We pray that summer will return in a wondrous way that forever turns. Allow the rebirth of the year in a tradition so old and so dear. Light the candles and you're in the sun. The work of the Holy King is done. These are the days of winter. These are the days of dark. We pray that summer will return in a wondrous way that forever turns. Wondrous way that forever turns.
I'm Joan and you are watching Spriggan Mist TV.
Those of you who have been following us on Facebook will know that we had a mystery guest come to Spriggan Towers to do a little feature for us. So those of you who have been kept in suspense, it is actually Rick Knight, good friend of the band and an amazing storyteller. And here he is telling us a special Yule story.
I'm indebted for this story to a pixie that lives on the south coast of England for passing the story on. It was many, many years ago, in a land that we now call Germany. A woman lived there with her 2 children. They didn't have much, they were quite poor. But it was said that, of all people, she knew how to celebrate the time of Yule. And thus it was one year that she collected her tree and she set it up in her home. She decorated it as well as she could. And then, on the day before solstice, she invited her friends and family round. She lit the fire, and together they burnt the Yule log, they burnt the sprigs of holly, and they started a feast that lasted for many, many days. After 4 days of the feast, the woman was starting to get a little bit weary. But as her friends and relatives left the house that evening for a short break, she sat down and she looked around her. It was the eve of the day of Christmas. She looked around the house and realised how dirty it had become over the last 4 days of partying. She sent her excited children to bed. They really wanted to get to bed quickly because they wanted to get up the next morning. And then she set about cleaning. She set about brushing and mopping and washing and polishing. As she did this, all of the spiders in the house scurried away. They scurried up the walls and through the floorboards and up into the rafters. And they stayed up in the loft, peering down to see what the woman was doing. Down below, she carried on mopping and brushing and cleaning and polishing until the house was gleaming. She'd been at it for many, many hours. She looked. Oh, she realised what the time was. So she went to bed. She walked off into her room, got into bed. No sooner had her head hit the pillow than she was asleep. Now it didn't take long with all the snoring for the spiders up in the loft to realise that she was asleep. It was now safe for them to come back out to play. So they came back out of the rafters and they came down through the ceiling and down the walls back into the room. But when they got back into the room, they looked around. They realised how clean it was. They realised how polished it was. And they really didn't want to make a mess. They kind of felt a little bit awkward. They wanted to play, but they didn't want to muck it up. Then one small spider, sitting over in the corner, suddenly piped up. "The tree, the tree, the tree!" They all looked. "The tree! What a great idea! The tree was a brilliant playground." The spiders all scurried across the ground to the tree. They climbed up into the tree. Some of them went up the tree in pairs. They chased each other around and around, leaving their webs behind them. Others, they climbed straight up to the top of the tree, and when they were there, they used their silken threads to abseil back down to the bottom again. They carried on for a little while, leaving their cobwebs over the tree. Then, all of a sudden, they heard footsteps. They froze. The footsteps were there again. They got back into the tree and hid in the darkness. Looked out, and there in front of them was standing an old man. He was an old man with white hair and a long white beard. He was dressed from top to toe in a long cloak. Not the now familiar colours of red and white that he was given by a cola company in the early 20th century to wear, but this was his traditional green robes with white fur trim that he'd been wearing for centuries. He walked over to the fireplace, and as the embers of the fire still glowed, he took the 2 stockings that the children had left. Into each one he placed an orange and a small wooden toy. He knew that the children's mother had brought them up so well that they would be overjoyed and happy to receive anything, and the small wooden toy would be the best toy they ever had. As he stepped back to leave, he saw in the corner the tree. He was amazed. He had never seen anything so wonderful in his life. The decorations the woman had put on the tree were good, but with the spiders' webs all over it, it looked absolutely stunning. But then he was tinged with a little bit of sadness because he realised that with the amount of work that the woman had put into cleaning the house, she wasn't going to be happy to see the spiders' webs. But then he had an idea. He walked over to the tree. He just gently touched the spider's webs with his fingers. As he touched the spider's web, magic flowed through his fingers, and each and every strand of spider's web turned into silver and gold thread. He stepped back and left the house. The next morning, the woman was woken by the happy shrieks of her children. She got up and she walked through into the room. And there they were, staring at the beautiful tree. She'd never seen anything like it. It was the most beautiful thing she had ever seen. She couldn't believe it. She thought it looked good when she left it the night before, but now it was absolutely beautiful. Nobody had ever seen anything like it, for this was the very first tree ever to have tinsel on it. This is where the tinsel came from. And this is why, to this day, every single year, I keep at least one spider in my own tree. Merry Yule.
I'm Gary.
I'm Doris, and you're watching Spriggan Mist TV.
It's great to be relaxing by the fire when it's cold outside at Yule, especially after the last few weeks we've been busy recording. Here's a few shots and footage of us recording myths and legends. So this footage here is in the Spriggan Towers studio. This is where Max and Aaron and I record all the demos and our ideas, and we pass these on to the band for them to add their magic to it. So this is our home recording. Like I said, what you're hearing in the background is just demos. This is not what's going on the album. And then, once the demos are done, we move to the studio. Now the footage you're seeing here is us recording the tracks you're going to hear on the album Myths and Legends when it was released in April 2015. You'll also hear some footage of some of the tracks that make up the songs. They are not the finished article and not mixed properly, but it'll give you a flavour of what's to come.
This is Hearn.
And this is Namatona.
From Wildwood Radio.
And you are watching Spriggan Mist TV.
So we've reached the end of a calendar year. 2014 has been a great year for Spriggan Mist. Here are a few of our favourite moments.
Soul retriever, beauty bound, I am a believer. Soul retriever, you won me with your love. Soul retriever, beauty bound, I am a believer. Soul retriever, you won me with your love. Soul retriever, beauty bound, I am a believer. Soul retriever, you won me with your love. Soul retriever, beauty bound, I am a believer. Soul retriever,
soul retriever, you've won me with your love.
I'm Mother Dearest, and you're watching Spriggan Mist TV.
So that was the Yule edition of Spriggan Mist TV. On behalf of the band and the crew, I want to wish you all a very blessed Yule and a Merry Christmas.